Is it really a Jon Moxley match if he doesn't bleed? Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Kevin Zwicker from Fast Count coming at you. Before I get into this video, please remember to hit that like button and subscribe. I don't know about you guys, but I've kind of always felt as if the Continental Classic was its own separate entity. I very much so like to compare it to the Robert Pattinson Batman in the DCU universe, where it's its own thing on the side and it doesn't affect the main canon. But what went down tonight in the main event of Dynamite, we saw Claudio Castagnoli pick up a big time win against Jon Moxley, his Death Rider brother. It feels as if we are in the end of days of Jon Moxley leading this group. This was a really good match between these two guys. It felt as if it was going to go to a time limit draw. But once Danielson mentioned it more than once on commentary about how his match in the Continental Classic against Claudio went to a draw, it felt as if more like we were going to get a clear-cut winner, and it was Claudio. Mox bled all over the place where we saw it covered on Claudio as well, which, hey, in typical Jon Moxley faction, whether you like it or not, you're going to see blood. You're going to see some things that are going to make you a little bit squeamish, and we saw that. But Claudio picked up a clean win over Mox. And with Mox being in a tailspin, with him, tapping out to Hangman Page at All In, saying I quit to Jon Moxley at Wrestle Dream, tapping out to Kyle O'Reilly twice in a row. It feels as if we're going to see, a change of leadership when it comes to the Death Riders and who is leading it going forward. I know that a lot of people kind of suggested Pac, with him being the more sadistic guy of the group. And I personally think that the more interesting direction would be kind of having, Marina lead the group. It's very rare we see, a badass woman leading a group of badass men. But it really feels as if Claudio is the heir apparent to take over for Jon Moxley. And with all these L's piling up for Mox, and just from a logical standpoint, you when you think about it, you got these guys who are following Mox. So at some point, they're going to look around and say, why are we following this guy who continuously loses, who continuously taps out, who has said, I quit? We are supposed to be these badass mercenaries, and he is pretty much ruining our rep with all these L's he's taking and all these times he is quitting. It feels as if we're on the verge of a Jon Moxley babyface turn, or at least in an arc where he is a guy who's kind of like a lost soul, very much so exiled from the group, gonna have to rebuild and start from the bottom and work his way back into being a viable contender and being in a position where he is going to be just a lone wolf. Because think about it, with the Death Riders kind of feeling as if they are, the Thanos of the AEW, roster. He's not going to have a lot of friends. He's not going to have a lot of people who are going to want to back him after all of the ass whoopings that they have laid out on people throughout the last 2 years. So he's going to be a guy who's going to be a man on a lonely island, and I think it's going to happen sooner rather than later. We are coming up on the Winter is Coming edition of Dynamite, and we usually see some form of a big angle or some form of a debut or return on that show. You look back on the past couple of episodes, you know that this thing is going to be, cooking up sooner rather than later, where we're going to see the Death Riders implode and we're going to see new leadership. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section. Do you think we are in the end of days of Jon Moxley leading the Death Riders? Do you think that this is just a bump in the road? Let me know in the comment section, guys. And please remember to hit that like button and subscribe. I am Kevin Zwicker. I'm out.